Greetings and welcome back. We're moving ahead now to Game 4 of our leadoff series here at the Game24 Invitational, powered by NVIDIA. Team Tinker fighting their way up from a 2-0 deficit, trying to keep this series going, trying to bring it back to a best-of-1 if they can get a win right here and right now. I'm your host there in AC Chambers, joined by Trouf once again. And yeah, this has been a pretty entertaining series, man. The first couple of games, Alliance really just looked to put the screws to Tinker and succeeded. That last game, though, Game 3, we saw the Team Tinker that we're all accustomed to seeing whenever they're playing at their best, able to carve the map up. Very, very narrow drafts in some cases, but the execution was 100% on par with where it needed to be, and Alliance was playing from behind what felt like the entirety of that third game.
Yeah, and like we mentioned too, it just seemed from the get-go their lanes were just kind of weird. They were trying to dodge something, and then Loda was starting off in his jungle and then went top, but Centaur already had good levels by that time, and the creep equilibrium was in his favor, so it was difficult to actually dive him and kill him, which they never did. The only time they did, they already had enough gold up onto their supports in the bottom lane because they had a good start, that they were able to TP up and defend quite easily. Bulba TP'd up with the Bane, so it was just better lanes from Team Tinker and kind of weird ones from Alliance. But different draft here coming out this time. We have Brewmaster and Mirana for Team Tinker. Brew is just ridiculously strong up unless you're very confident in the next picks you could take after that, which is Io and the Razor. And we saw Key, the stand-in for Alliance, play it quite well. I believe it was game one.
Yep.
Yeah. Played it quite well in game 1, so we'll have to see how they do in this fourth game.
Yeah, like you said, Key, who is standing in for Ake, you know, he had some questionable moments so far, but for the most part, I feel like he's actually played really, really well, as you said, in particular, playing on supports that need to roam, that need to have map presence very early on. The communication, the instincts that come with that is just built with players really spending a lot of time playing together in a professional context. Despite a lack of that, he's looked pretty damn good today. Tinker as well really got it back into gear in Game 3, and I really want to see what they do with this Brew and this Mirana. Sing Sing was absolutely on fire in Game 3 with Mirana, and he's going to look most likely to repeat that performance here in yet another make-or-break game. It's win or go home.
Yep, and Brew is nice with Mirana too, because you can set up some arrows with the boulder. You can also set up arrows not too bad with just the slow from the stomp, honestly. And if you want to get really nicely timed arrows with the tornado, it's kind of awkward because you have to tell them exactly when you're going to drop them down. Lich coming out for Team Tinker, interesting stuff. So normally when you have Lich, you see some dual lanes coming up from that team. So it's kind of interesting to pick it up in the third position. Normally that gives the other team time to respond and draft accordingly. Personally, whenever I see Lich in a draft, I'm thinking I always go aggro tri-lane. That's just what I do. I think it's because whenever you draft Lich, its effectiveness, I think, comes out in full force when you have dual lanes. You can tri-lane, safe lane with Lich, but I think it's just bad. Like, he offers basically a slow in a lane and a minor nuke, and that's it. So if I'm a team against the Lich, I almost always go aggro tri-lane. So I'm interested to see if Alliance, who is a team that loves to go aggro tri-lane, by the way, interested to see if that's what they do.
Yeah, with the Lich, like you said, he's just one of those heroes who, I mean, on paper, he gives you a lot in the laning phase. If he's left to his own devices and not put under pressure, he's going to win that lane without a doubt just because of the power of sacrifice. He has a nuke, and he can keep towers up as well. So even if you try to pressure the tower and you only half-ass it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. But if you just run up and hit him in the face, there's really not a whole lot he can do outside of dropping one Frost Blast here and there. But for now, Alliance finishing up their front three with the Tidehunter. We can take a look at the bans. It has been almost identical bans for Alliance in every single game thus far in this series. The Lycan, the Death Prophet, and the Wraith King all taken out. Skipping over the Bane, though, and instead banning the Shadow Demon this time, maybe in anticipation of something happening with that Mirana. Bulba looked great on Bane in Game 3. Wouldn't surprise me if they decided to maybe go back to it.
Yeah, Bane's good because if they do dual lanes, that was a mouthful. If they do dual lanes, Bane's a very, very good support hero that he can function on his own. Like, he doesn't need help from another support hero. He has high damage, high movement speed, extremely good nukes, and it might not be Bane, but they are picking up a Sand King right here, so Team Tinkerino has some decent lanes. It depends on what they want to do. My guess, just looking at the draft right now, is like, Lich Brew off, like Sand King Mirana safe with something mid. I don't know. They could do so many different things right now. It just depends on where they want to prioritize farm and what kind of heroes Alliance are picking.
Well, I think this lineup, regardless of how they lane it, is going after the same thing they captured in Game 3, which is just the ability to be highly mobile and extremely lethal in terms of ganking potential. It's not going to be quite as potent as if they had the Nature's Prophet, where the global presence, when Pycat got up his Orchid, he was just everywhere using the blink to get on top of targets and nuke them down before they could respawn. But you're going to have Brewmaster with Blink. You're going to have Mirana with Leap. You're going to have the Sand King ostensibly with Blink at some point. And, of course, Moonlight Shadow to help you move around. On the other side of that, though, Alliance has a very strong front three, now bolstered with Leshrac, who... Leshrac's one of those heroes that, I mean... You cast Dota long enough, and I'm sure it's the same with you. I remember when Leshrac just fit into every lineup and was played constantly. He's been receiving some buffs as of late, but he still looks and feels very situational, and a lot of teams treat him with some skepticism. How do you feel about this? Like, a Leshrac with Team Tinker, I think I would have felt more natural, like if you replace the Lesh with the Lich, or vice versa, actually, replace the Lich with the Lesh. How do you think the Lesh fits in with what Alliance has going on so far?
Oh, I think Lesh is a very, very finesse hero. Like, you need a very good player that knows exactly how to position himself correctly, unless you have lots of easy stuns and setups. But you need to play Lesh kind of in the same mindset as, like, if you're playing Enigma with his Black Hole. Like, you can't rely on your stun, I don't think, for Lesh, especially when you have no setups. His only setup right now is a Tide Ravage, but that's only coming out, what, every 120-something, 140-something seconds?
Right.
150 actually. So you can't rely on a stun unless you're very, very finesse and extremely familiar with the duration of the lift down and like everything like that. So I think he's primarily picked, in my opinion, as like a pusher. Like, he pushes so fast with Edict. And then if you put, like, if it depends on what you value more. You can put a value point into Lightning Storm just once, just for the initial 75% slow, which is a significant buff, I think. But it takes a very heads-up player to play Lesh, I think. It's a very finesse kind of player. It's scary putting him up against Team Tinkerino's lineup just because Brew, Blink, clap onto Lesh, he's dead. 100% dead. Mirana, you're never going to stun him unless he's ravaged. Tinker, with the mobility now picked up for him last, if he gets a Blink, it's going to be hard. So I think you need to primarily focus on just pushing towers with Lesh and getting so much of a lead that you don't have to worry about hitting your stun.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm actually really worried for Alliance. And I was worried before the Tinker pickup, but it makes it even worse again. Highly mobile, very hostile, very effective late early game, early mid game, kind of a ganking lineup. And now you have the global presence of a Tinker. If he gets off to a great start, it's going to be messy for Alliance to deal with that, to put it very, very mildly. I mean, Lesh does have some things that will help him hit his stun. And there's a CK, by the way, picked up for Alliance, so I'm not going to get too out of the box in terms of what you pair with the IO this time around. But, you know, being able to hit your stun off of a Gush is nice. Lightning Storm, as you said, very often you'll see at all levels, people really prioritize that, even over Split Earth in some cases. How do you feel about that? Not necessarily in this context, but across the board. How do you feel about the buffs to Lightning Storm and how much more utility it gives Lesh?
It gives them a lot more utility. I think now you could even run Lesh as a core, honestly, because of that. And you just have to play with how many points you want in Edict. Like, you can go, I think 2 points is stun and necessary because one is just the stun range or radius is just so freaking low. It's just awful. So I think 2 points is necessary. I think at least 2 points into Edict just for tower pushing, and then you can play with it. Like, it depends on how the game's going. Do you think you need more spammability? Is it effective? It just kind of how the game goes dictates how you skill Lesh, I think, is the easiest way to put it. I think Alliance right now is definitely going to go aggro, though. Like, I could be wrong as they're running towards bottom. So maybe they're not. They have good catch potential. And one of the other things that you can do against a Lich pick is just push. Because naturally, Lich is denying the wave back, right? So it's much easier to actually push because they're missing creeps. So if you punish that by wrapping around with aggressive ganks or something, you can be quite effective in pushing.
Well, we can see they're moving out under smoke now through the Radiant jungle, trying to find someone. Their level 1 team fight is nothing to sneeze at. If they can hit a Chaos Bolt, follow with a Split Earth, which has been skilled at level 1, and they might have a chance here. Although it is EGM and PyCat, even if they had caught them, 2 heroes that have built-in mechanisms of escape. And yeah, looks like they're just going to be a little tardy to the party. If they'd have gotten there 3 or 4 seconds earlier, nope, hang on. PyCat, ooh, doubling back, and yep, he's going to get eyes on him. Pings him out. He doesn't know if he's alone or not, and Loda comes right up, throws out the Chaos Bolt, 2-second stun, all he got. Razor doing what damage he can. PyCat has yet to place a point. Now places it at the last second. One more auto attack will do it. Salves up, make it 2. He held on to his lead for a long time. He could have placed that point immediately as soon as he got hit with the Chaos Bolt. Instead, held on to it, took a lot of right-click, and in the end, Alliance gets off to a good start.
And they also didn't even use the tether slow. Like,
yeah,
I know it's only, it says 0.75, but it does make a difference. So that was very weird stuff coming out from both sides, but they do get the kill, and that's what matters. I thought for sure Alliance was going to go aggro because, one, they always do. Like, Alliance loves to go aggro, with, especially with CK. They do it more than any other team. And I just think aggro Tri-Lanes are good against Lich. But it is going to be an SK Potom off lane combination. Very interesting. We also have Misery now applying some pressure mid with the Split Earth, and so I think it's just because he got illusions. Just to give a couple free CS to Chessie here early on. So misses the Split Earth. I don't know what he's doing here. I think they should just punish this weird off lane duel lane here coming out from Team Tinker. But like I said, he got illusions. Wants to use him to their full effect and be an annoyance here early on.
Yeah, Bulldog's going to have a heyday up here. He should be just fine against this offlane. Yeah, they're just going to get the Lich out of there. They realize, okay, all he's doing is standing there and allowing the Tidehunter to get ahead, contributing little to nothing, and soaking XP from the hero that needs it most, that Brewmaster. So Sing Sing going to be left isolated up there. Here comes Misery rotating up. PyCat. Yep, that was a well shot. Split Earth would have hit, but the leap on point. And looks like Loda and company are going to be able to fall back and farm relatively freely. Early CS totals, Loda sitting at just 2. Razor's doing well in mid. He's at 5, Quakeva at 4, so basically a wash. 3 and 3 at top. How do you feel about the lane phase as a whole? This is going to change. Bulldog hit with a Burrow Strike, gets off the Anchor Smash. Now he has to waddle his way to safety. He's got the Stout Shield. He does have regen, uses a Tango, now salves in between auto attacks. Trying to double back, uses another Anchor Smash. And he's going to walk through, trying to drag them into the creeps, and he Krakens through it. Krakens through the stun of the Burrow Strike. He's still up and going. EGM, yeah, EGM doesn't have a Burrow Strike. He's trying to reach in mana, and all he can do is right-click, but nobody's coming. EGM desperately right-clicking, saying, please, please, somebody come help, pinging it out on the map.
He's like, yo, Potom from bottom lane, can you walk all the way top and arrow? Because that's what he's doing. He's walking to try to oh my god. Cue the Benny Hill theme song, but very nice. I would say this great play actually from Bulldog. Like, that's a lot of freaking wasted time. Not to mention, like, the Mirana, hello, what are you doing up here? Looks like he's going to try to transfer this arrow to mid. If he can get it, it'll be a very, very good start here. Oh, arrow comes Chessie. He does dodge it. Nice movement from him. Does have the boots. And this is an Invis rune actually here for... Makes me wonder why they didn't start with the Sand King stun.
That makes no sense. If they set the Potom like right here and then just stun, it's a guaranteed kill.
He has it in 1 second. He has it in 1 second.
Okay, now they're going to go. Yep, yeah. Look, I guess they just wanted to try to get it for free. Lasers him down, and that's going to tie us back up at 1 apiece. Down at bottom, though, this bottom lane obviously having its problems. As PyCat sitting on next to nothing. He's got 1 CS total for this game, and they've abandoned Bulba on the Lich down here all by his lonesome. Loda, in the meantime, leads CS at 15.
Feels like a pub game. You know, when you go mid, and there's that friggin' annoying-ass Mirana just sitting there throwing out arrows. And you're like, dude, quit wasting your time. Like, you're useless.
Yep, exactly.
But they do actually net a kill out of it, so good for them. Razor only 7 and 5, as opposed to the 15 and 3 Tinker. So, but if they get levels up onto Misery here playing the Leshrac, and he is going Edict, it's going to be Edicts now.
Yep.
Okay, that's the level 1. He could have dinged 3 and then used it afterwards and saved some mana, but interesting usage of the Edict there, if I must say.
Odd arrow there. Like, I don't think that really had a chance of hitting. They had to know another wave was coming just by looking at the position of their own creep wave. At any rate, Alliance putting good pressure on. This prompts Bulba to be hooked up with Pycat. I don't know what they're going to do here. Take a look at Bulba. He doesn't have a point into the armor, so he can't even help the tower with that. But like you said, 1 point into the Edict, just chipping away right now, but down to about half.
They tried to force that way too hard because they're like, we got the siege creep, guys. Let's go. Let's force this. Let's push to 315 with the siege. But they just didn't. They didn't do enough to get the creeps spammed out. They don't really have any spamming. Like it's the less stun, but it's level 1. So I think they just needed to prioritize pulling, getting levels, pulling as much as you could, and then going when you actually know that you can. But yeah, forced it a little bit too much, and Lesh is roaming around. Very, very weird play, honestly, from both sides. If I do, and even Loda is teeping into the mix, so should be a kill though.
Oh, Koika's super dead.
Yeah.
You know, it's you pick the CK to go with the IO, but he is just as lethal coming from any odd angle, especially against a hero like Tinker, who before Blink is just a sitting duck. 2-1. That's a very high-profile kill for them to get as well. Up at top, we can see Sing Sing is doing quite well. He's got 18 CS, but Bulldog not a slouch either, sitting on 13 for himself as well. Sing Sing will be 6 before long, though.
Yeah, Bulldog's doing very, very well up here. It's so weird. I don't think I've ever seen the carry actively TP. Oh, Pycat aggressively leaps in. They can kill him if they have enough mana on the stun. Yep, there's the tether.
Yep, just going to go for Bulba. And Arrow, ooh, almost on point. Misery shows up as well. We will see Sing Sing get away. TP'd as soon as he threw the arrow. And Sing Sing and Bulldog continuing to go back and forth. And it's going to be 2 big ultimates coming out of those two very, very soon. Loda, though, is in great shape. He's picked up his treads, and he's picked up another Glove of Haste. We'll see what he wants to go for, probably an Armlet.
Yep, that's generally a good build for him. It could also be a Midas. I know Loda loves to get Midas, and I think it's pretty good on CK, give you extra levels. There's the fort. Arrow coming in, so they have at least baited out the fort. Let's check some levels on Bobo. Only level 3, actually, at 6 minutes. Normally you see it a little bit higher just because of the denying effect from Sacrifice, but did get killed once, so is a little bit behind. And the ward, I didn't even notice this, but they did ward their Ancients at the beginning, so they haven't been able to stack that for Tinker.
Yep, very well played there. Tinker, speaking of, grabs himself a haste room. He's got a ways to go for his bots. He's got about 1,500 gold he needs to get up in the next few minutes if he really wants to start feeling effective when he wants to. Loda, in the meantime, keeping an eye on him too. You're right, it could be a Midas. Loda usually will go greedy whenever he gets a Midas, though. I mean, it's very situational, but situation like this, I feel like he would want to go for the jugular. I mean, they've got great ultimates that are going to be on the way, and all they have to do is deal with Sing Sing, and they should be in great shape in the mid game. As Bulldog now 5.5, Sing Sing is almost level 7, and now we see EGM is going to work here in the jungle.
Yep, here comes the push. There's a TP from Sing Sing, and there's the split. Arrow is almost going to hit Key, but he should be dead anyway.
Yep, caught from behind and tossing in the air as Loda very nicely shot Split Earth. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of follow-up as Loda falls to Earth and falls in general. Nice TP from Sing Sing as they come in. They don't prevent the tower or deny the tower, but they do manage to get a couple of kills.
Definitely worth it for Team Tinker. The thing is, like, they're not trading enough to, like, give space to X hero. Like, I don't think giving space to Razor is a hero we're, like, happy about giving space to. If it was, like, Naga, maybe, but Razor's not a hard enough carry to really make an excuse for giving space to. They did get the tower, which is good. It didn't get denied, right? Okay, thank God for that. Yeah, they really need that gold. And then, bam, they just go top. They know Split's down. They want to fight.
Up. Fogging on the Reality Rift is troublesome. EGM, yep, sorry, buddy. Caught out, was trying to hide and wait on a burrow strike to get to the low ground. Unfortunately, it just used it. That's going to be near level 6 now for Chaos Knight. We'll see if he skills his ultimate, or, as is often the case, sometimes you'll skip it. And but for now, with tied at level 6, looks like they're ready to go.
Yep, I think he can afford skilling it because he has the Wisp to give him extra mana. If he does it, because that's the biggest problem with skilling it. It just costs the extra mana. But he has treads. As long as he's tread swapping appropriately, shouldn't be a problem. Misery 2-2 build so far. I like it. I think this is the appropriate build so far. TP in coming up from Chessie to give some extra damage to Pycat, and Pycat's going to have to go heal. This tower should be fine as well. Looks like Bulba's trying to be annoying and pull the creep wave away. As Koikfa is getting... Nope, he's actually not close to his boss. He's only got 500 gold.
Well, I mean, it's easy to forget. It's so common to see the Ancient stacked for your Tinker. And,
right, yeah.
And they just dedicated almost nothing. And the sad thing is they did drop a Sentry, but...
it is stacked once. It is stacked once, and it looks like Tinker's going to stack it again. So after that, he actually should be pretty close to it.
But yeah, not having your supports to stack that for you, and just having that waiting on you around 7 or 8 minutes makes a big difference. EGM's going to give up a free one up here. He gets dusted again, and Loda just smacks him in the back, sends him back to the fountain, make it 5-3. I have no idea how he got caught that far out of position.
Huh. Yeah, and the Wisp almost has relocate as well. Midas is completed for Loda, so that is what he's going to go for. I think if there's any player that loves to get Midas, it's Arteezy and Loda. So if you see a glove of face, you can count on it being a Midas sometime soon. Koikfa, he has chosen not to take the triple stack right now, as he only has 3 into March, so maybe he wants to get it stacked one more time, or he wants more points into March. Oh, he has stacks right here too. Okay, that's why. So he will have spots relatively early on from good stacking from both him and his supports, but is it enough is the big question.
Yeah, he's going to have to get active. And, you know, if there's anyone who can, it's Koikfa. Koikfa has become such a superstar in his own right. You know, going back a year ago, considered by many, myself included, to be arguably the hottest young prospect in Dota. And he's really blossomed. He's really flowered. And now finding himself on such a talented team with so many other playmakers, he has the chance to really flourish. And Tinker, the eponymous hero that the team's named after, certainly a speciality of his, as it is pretty much damn near everyone on that team. At top, Sing Sing spots Bulldog, does a little bit of damage, but it looks like both teams able and willing to just sit back and farm for a bit. They will TP2 down the bottom now, though.
I don't know if they saw the bottom or want to just push. Kind of interesting ways to TP, but... yeah, okay, well, Key is going to get his relocate here in just a second. Makes me wonder why Lesh TP down there. He should be with someone else, and then the other two ready to relocate somewhere, but... he does have a Midas, by the way, also in the Lesh wreck, so give him some extra levels. I think this is okay. Like I am also a big fan of Midas myself, so in most situations, so that'll be good for him. They need some or some counter vision though for this Sand King, so they can, and also for the Potom. Potom is now level 6, so it has the Moonlight Shadow, so they're gonna need dust or sentries on multiple heroes if they want to take these fights accordingly.
Bod's picked up on Tinker, so Koikfa gonna be ready to come into his own. It's gonna be just in time though for relocate to be an option for Alliance, as you said. Key did find his 6. And Loda also did take his ulti, as you had mentioned wisely. The fact that Io can help him with his mana pool issues allows him to take the ultimate very, very early. At any rate, it is 11.5 minutes in. We're at 5-3, and both teams still remaining kind of calm. Load up has eyes on Pycat. Doesn't look like he wants to try to do much with it, though.
Also with the buff to the ultimate, which I think is pretty insane if it does proc. It's a 50% chance, I believe, to get an extra illusion.
Yep.
Which is basically saying at level 6, I can cast a level 11 ult. Or I guess I should say level 1, I can cast a level 2 ult. Which is pretty insane. You never have that, ever. So,
not as insane as casting a level 4 ult, though.
Well, you can cast that at level 16,
right,
potentially. And then you can cast Manta on top of that, and then bottle up an illusion rune. Oh my god, Kriegasm! Huge ultimate from the Typhoon. I don't know if he's muted right now, so I'm going to just say stuff, but EGM casts the ultimate, but Admiral Bulldog was up in the air, so it does minimal damage. Io does go down. Loda looking for somebody. Oh, are you back?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yep, so I heard you take over. Well played on that. But
yeah, I didn't know if I could still be heard, so I was like, nope. No, I will take over.
Nope, it's all you, man. It's all you.
Okay.
We're good. So another fight. Yeah, I mean, 7-4 Alliance, and you know, I was kind of making sure we were going to be able to hook back up, tech issues being set aside, but yeah, it's 7-4, 13 minutes in, and we saw a lot of big ultimates deployed in that fight.
Yeah, I just saw a nice tide ulti, and then just the fact that the old epicenter happened when he was up in the air, basically, is unfortunate for the team of Team Tinker, but looking at the graphs, actually, XP is in favor of Team Tinker, but the net worth is definitely in favor with about 3,000 for Alliance. So Alliance definitely has the inferior late game, no doubt about it, but if they get some core items, I've been seeing this happen from Team Tinker. They just don't buy core items. Like, I don't see them ever buy mech. I never see them buy pipe or minimal force staff, just at one time on the Centaur, but I would say the Alliance, if they get their core items up on their heroes and team fighting items, they almost have the mech up on the Razor, they could stumble this out of control.
Yep, totally agree with you. The mech on the Razor, very, very close now, about 800 gold, give or take. Pycat, in the meantime, has nothing on this Marauder. Like, has 700 gold, phase, and Aqualate. And I guess at 14 minutes, it could be worse, but it certainly could be a lot better, too. A lot of wasted time, as we saw early on, beginning to take its toll on the item progression of Team Tinker. Bulldog's back, has Ravage in 35 seconds, and they're just going to continue to pressure this Tier 1 mid. The Tier 1 top, barely going to be scratched by Pycat, just has no damage right now. And looks like we will have a quick pause.
Whoa!
Whoa! Yeah, that happened rather quickly.
Apparently Chessie, Loda, and Pycat are all landing together.
Would
Wait,
appear.
go? What?
G. But thanks for tuning in, guys. This is the Stream 24 Invitational, powered and brought to you by NVIDIA. Stream 24, a celebration of PC gaming all across the planet. And make sure you check out not just what we got going on here Dota-wise, and we do have quite a lot. This is just the beginning of an all best-of-5 4-team single-elimination tournament with $15,000 cash money on the line. But there's plenty else going on with Stream 24 right now, so make sure you head on over to the main website, check out all that's on display. And I tell you the truth, I'm not even sure how they're doing it, but there's supposed to be live stuff incorporated into it as well, like live streams from different parts of the globe, and just a really, really cool way for NVIDIA to show that their passion for gaming is right on par with the passion they have for producing amazing graphics products. But looks like they are going to be making their way back in now.
Yep. And interested to see what Loda goes for now. It looks like a BKB initially, as they are ready. Leshrac, interested to see what items he goes for too. He has very, very little HP, and he gets caught out by anything, he's pretty much dead. So he's got to be really careful. Maybe a straight BKB force staff. In fact, he needs to be careful right now as Blink comes out from Koikfa. He does have his Blink, by the way, very, very nicely timed considering he had some aggression early on. Misery running through the march, but he should be okay for now.
Yeah, he took a lot of unnecessary damage there, really. I mean, I understand wanting to be cute, maybe trying to land a splitter before he TPs away, but not a very high likelihood that's going to happen, as we see Koikfa's already returned to the scene of the crime and going to continue to pressure this Tier 1 bottom. And they've got some personnel in the nearby, just really tough to catch him. They ping out where he's blinked to, and he's going to continue to blink around, and he could... never mind, Split Earth was thrown, and Koikfa aware that they're there. Let's see. He's going to hang at least for the moment. Yeah, just going to continue to spam this out.
Yep, he's being a little bit cheeky right here. Well, I guess this isn't even being cheeky. He's just testing his limits, and he knows his limits. So, and this is really good for him. If he can keep this lane pushed out, they don't have too much catch, to be honest. Like, their only catch is a Blink Tide, which he does now have. They can't rely on a relocate, because if they relocate when the Blink is up off cooldown for Tinker, it's just a wasted relocate. So it has to be the Tide Blink, but that Tide Blink ulti, that's what you have to dedicate to just killing off the Tinker. And if you can create that kind of space for your team, especially when you're the team that has the better late game, he's just fine with that.
For now, Loda just continuing to farm, but yeah, I completely agree with you. Sing Sing and company with Dust moving now to catch up to Pycat, anticipating perhaps a gank on the way. And yeah, speaking of relocate, we have yet to really seen it put to use. So that's something, without a doubt, I would imagine Loda and Key want to hook up on sometime soon.
It's kind of hard to do so. Like I said, their only real setup stun to make sure it's an effective relocate is the Blink Ravage. So they're gonna have to look to Admiral Bulldog to find the correct positioning and the right time to fight. It looks like lots of heroes are parked up here top, as Sing Sing on the Panda does have his level 2 split ready to go. Boba, he has his Chain Frost ready to go as well. Could see a possible fight up here, but they need to set up here with the Tidehunter.
Moving Tide into position. And they're spread out very, very well. You can see on the minimap just how spread they are. Sing Sing and EGM on opposite corners of the lane, ready to counter-initiate if needed. but they're just going to go ahead and back off. Just waiting on maybe an overextension from Alliance, and they might get it if Bulldog decides to be greedy and go try to farm this creep wave. Nope, he's going to play back and wait for creeps of his own. And yeah, looks like they should stay safe. Just heard the arrow shot and dodged by Bulldog. So nothing working for Tinker here in this top lane, at least for the moment.
And the Sand King has his blink too. I think Alliance is in a pretty bad spot, to be honest. Like, Tinker is just going to out-farm all of Alliance. And if they have no ways to really catch him, he's just going to have a field day sitting down here bottom, constantly pushing out lanes, making it harder to farm. The only one that's really farming is kind of the Razor and then maybe the Chaos Knight. But okay, he does have his BKB. They need to find fights. Like, they need to find openings, but it's really hard to get. Oh, here we go.
Ravage on the 2. Tower does end up dropping. That was destroyed by Mirana. There's the relocate in, and the BKB showed off. Sing Sing got the ulti off, and we can see there's the Phantasm. Epicenter was there as well. Damage done. Not as high as they would have liked. And the Lich ulti bouncing a lot, but really not accomplishing a whole lot. The rest of them have pulled back, and Sing Sing still trying to make something happen with this ultimate. Yeah, he's going to reassemble. Razor tossed into the air. Loda eating a lot of damage, and they kited that out so very well. Tinker.
Oh, arrow.
There it is. On the money as Chessie caught out Pycat. Doing his best Sing Sing impression. Hits one. And that's going to allow them to make it a full 5-man wipe. And an ultra kill for Koikva as well. Just like that. A game in which Alliance looked to be on the verge of taking total control. Tinker blows it right back open, and we're now arcing towards a 20-minute game where we're back to dead even. Just look at the goal graph. Right between 1,000 and 0, and the experience is actually totally in favor of Tinker right now.
I mean, Alliance they're into drafting these kind of like low core lineups. Oh, my game almost crashed. Hold on 1 second.
All right.
My computer is doing something very wonky, but okay, I'll just try to speak from memory. But yeah, they're drafting like these weird kind of 1.5 core lineups, and if you get behind in that against a team that has better late game than you, it's just very difficult to come back. Especially last game we saw against a Furion. If you get behind a lineup that has like better late game plus global potential, it's kind of rough. And give me a second as I try to restart Dota here.
Alrighty. Trout's gonna try to sort out his issues. And meanwhile, we'll take a look at the map and compare net worth and the such. Tinker, as one would expect after those bots came out, really exploded in terms of overall GPM. He's up to about 11.8, coming up on 12,000 overall net worth. That's almost a third higher. It's actually, check that, that's almost 50% higher than Chaos Knight, who's sitting just south of 9,000 for himself. And as you can tell, I cast for a reason. I don't math so well. But he's in great shape. The Razor is doing okay now, too. He's up to 7K, right on the same tier with Sing Sing as well. But I'm still really impressed with the way that Tinkerino managed to kite out that fight at top. It looked like they had kind of whiffed on some things. The Lich ult was not really there. The Epicenter, did some damage, and not as much as they would have liked. But they just waited and waited and waited and waited. And by the time Lotus BKB wore off, they were just able to re-engage and just blast him down.
Yeah, they also have just very good abilities for the relocate. Like they use the Ravage, which was nice, but it needs to be I'm relocating and then Ravage comes so that you can blow someone up before they, like, namely the Panda. If they don't kill this Panda before he ulties, they just lose the fight. And like I said, it can't be Ravage and then I, as a reactionary tool, use my relocate. It needs to be I'm relocating in right now. Now guys go. But even then, it's kind of risky because if you react to the relocate before the Ravage comes out, like it's just not the ideal lineup against a Panda. It really isn't.
EGM caught from behind. Ends up dying, and a waste of Moonlight Shadow at that. Trying to save him, being a little overeager with the ulti. Load in the meantime, taking the opportunity to continue his farm up there in top lane. Chessie's out front now in mid, but March of the Machines will send him and the rest of Alliance quickly turning away, and Sing's actually going to engage. Yeah, he's going to split. He wants to kill this Razor. Lich ulti goes off as well, and Mech keeps him alive for a little while. That ult took the longest possible path I think it could have, and Chessie tossed in the air, but here comes Bulldog. Bulldog has Ravage. He's going to wait on it. He knows which Panda he's coming back to. Loda's there as well. He's going to be tossing in the air. Sing Sing able to blink away. Key's there to hook back up with Loda. Koikva up on the high ground doing what he can. But looks like they will just go ahead and relocate back from whence they came. Misery and Chessie eating quite a bit of damage from behind thanks to Tinker. But that was kind of a weird engagement. Just a whole lot of special effects and a whole lot of abilities and mana used, and everyone makes it back to base safely. Cool.
The panel did like absolutely no damage to Razor.
Yep.
Razor's pretty tanky. It's 1600 HP plus a mech. Double damage pop from Chessie, but can't really go chasing after potting with the leap up. So, yeah, interesting play right there. I just feel like Koik was going to take over this game. Like, he's almost got his Eth Blade. And 150 gold. After these camps, he'll have it. He is fighting in the face of Chessie. Should have used the Ghost Scepter beforehand. The double damage doing a lot of damage, but he will get out safely in time.
I agree with you. That's just what Koikfa does. We were talking about it a bit, you know, earlier in the game. He just has become that late game playmaker every team desperately wants and needs. And EGM, once again, is going to be dusted and blown up.
This guy.
Yep. EGM feeder. And
the sixth man for Alliance.
Sixth man. But yeah, I mean, they've dusted him and killed him. That's what, 3 times now?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's 0-5-3, so hasn't exactly had the greatest game. But I mean, I still think the lineup for Tinker is just extremely strong. Like I mentioned, the biggest problem is they have no real catching potential for Tinker and Panda unless you expend the Ravage. But it needs to be in conjunction with a predetermined relocate. So.
LOL.
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, I missed that one, but it looks like Loda, he does pick up his armlet for the Chaos Knight. Kind of interesting that it's after the BKB, but still gets it nonetheless. It's good armor, good HP, good damage overall, especially if you cast it before you use that Phantasm.
Yep, and yeah, like you said, we saw that put to use already. Just blowing Bulba to pieces. Only took 2 or 3 shots. Misery, in the meantime, has found his level 11, level 2 ulti. He actually has up a point booster as well, or soul booster, excuse me. So he's in pretty okay shape. How do you feel about Alliance? Do you think the CK is actually going to be able to give them what they need down the stretch?
I would say with Wisp, all things are possible. Like, because it does make your farming potential that much higher. You can farm but still have a third of a gank. So you don't have to like walk around the map looking for a gank. You can just farm, and then whenever the gank is acceptable or whenever it presents itself, you can just do it. Like, you don't have to like run around the map aimlessly looking for one. So CK can have what it takes, I would say, but they need like a good stun. They need like a setup, like I mentioned with Ravage, and if he gets level 16 and does get that lucky proc with his ult and has 4 illusions, they can burst someone down very effectively. Problem is with Koikfa, if he's on point, which I know this player is, he can use the Eth Blade to save someone if he really needs to. So it's just going to come down to, you know, how well each player can personally play, honestly. And Koikfa, with the Eth Blade up, now looking at Dagon 2 and looking for Dagon 5 down the road, it'll be fun to watch.
The DPS out of Koikfa going to be tremendous, like you said, coming down the road. And it's hard to believe. He's got an Eth Blade and a Dagon 2 now up at just 25 minutes into this game. He has gone absolutely bonkers in terms of overall net worth. Loda is still keeping pace, though, with the help of that Midas. It's just a question of how many items he's going to need. There's going to be a relocate down the bottom, no target to be had, and they're going to use the Glyph and march in the machines. And, yeah, he uses Phantasm, but how much? Yeah, I guess they're going to stick with it, just using that. Up. Koikfa showing up. I was going to say using that plus the Edict to try to bring it down, but they do some damage. But that's about it. And now forced to fall back and farm.
I guess it's just a chip tower damage relocate.
Yep.
Very interesting stuff, but nobody dies, so no harm, no foul, I suppose. Chessie, he does have his BKB completed, which is very, very necessary this game. Really, really needs it. Loda, like we mentioned, he has his. I would not be. I really think that Misery should have gone for just a BKB this game. I think the Soul Booster is good, and he's undoubtedly going to go for the what's it called, the Bloodstone, which is good to have lots of mana, but he really needs that BKB. In fact, BKB solves a lot of problems here for Alliance. Like, all of the damage, like all of it right now is coming out from magical damage. Pycat will never be doing that much damage physically. In fact, he does have some good farm, but it's still the Maelstrom, which is magical damage. Oh no, Misery, you are not in a good spot, as he will fall here, undoubtedly.
Yep. Had some help on the way, but Chessie wisely decides to turn tail. Koikva. He goes in and uses that. Now it's going to allow him to be spotted by Loda, so he gets the kill. And Loda waiting to go to work on him. And, yep, unable to clean him up in time. So that's a BKB charge wasted by Loda as well.
Yeah. I think he was afraid of, like, he couldn't really see if he was rearming his spells or not, but he had low mana as well. So, yeah, unfortunate waste of the BKB, and Koikva gets out scot-free.
Well, Tinkerino now pressuring bottom. They've got 4 in mid, just Koikva. And they're actually bringing this tower down pretty quick. Reaction slow in the coming from Alliance, as is often the case when you draft an IOCK. And IO happens to be dead, and they just don't want to re-engage. Bulldog, in the meantime, trying to do Ancients. He's working on a refreshers now, but he's going to have a ways to go. And this game beginning to feel like it is squarely in favor of Tinkerino, and it certainly is. The gold lead at one point, a little over 4,000 in favor of Alliance, has dropped down to 1,000 in favor of Tinker, so a full 1,000 swing. The experience has drawn a little bit closer than it was earlier in the game, but nonetheless still in favor of Tinker as well.
Yeah, I am still somewhat impressed with how Loda and Chessie have been able to keep up with farm. Like, they actually both have more farm than Sing Sing on the Panda. Sing Sing does have good items. He's 4-0-4 this game, so good performance so far. Just picked up his Vlads, which is good. And, yeah, they could look to do Roshan, I'm sure, sometime, once they push out these lanes, which obviously they can do with Koikva. So I don't think that Team Tinker is sad at all with how passive the game has gotten so far. I mean, Koikva is just going to get that much bigger. And this guy is, like, one of the most capable Tinker players in the world, so I'm sure they're just fine.
And as you can see, he's continuing to fill out that inventory. Down at bottom, Pycat's been spotted. He will leap and TP away. And Loda and Key have really just been outmaneuvered for the most part this game. We've seen them get a little work done, but for the most part, it hasn't necessarily been them relocating in. It's mostly just been running into people on the map, overextensions from EGM, etc., etc., etc. And every time they try to really chase someone, they just kind of get foxed.
Yep, and look at Koikva. He's just creating so much pressure on all the lanes. Like, this is very, very good for them. Spreading out the map. If he can do this bottom a couple times, it should be a very easy Roshan. And like I mentioned before, I don't think they have any problem taking this passively into the late game. They have all the tools they need.
The Tinker is level 18, level 16, the closest on Alliance for Razor. That's also level of Sing Sing. But yeah, I'm curious as to where you go with this CK pick. I mean, you can do stuff like build a heart, and he does have a Reaver now. And that's all handy dandy. And he does get kind of nasty later on. He'll be level 16 before too long and have that extra illusion. You can blow people up with that kind of burst off of the Chaos Strike and the guaranteed damage from Reality Rift. But he's just so easy to kite if you can survive that initial volley.
Yeah, he does do a lot of damage, but I'm also wondering why EGM is really underfarmed. I feel like his net worth should be like around the Lesh's. Just because, like, I know Lesh has a Midas, but Team Tinker has just gotten so many more objectives.
5 times.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the reason why, but...
Here we go, relocate in, there's gonna be a Ravage! Caught almost everyone, and the Refresher showed off again! Got 5 with it. Sing Sing, though, still able to split in now. Koikva coming in to bring the pain. EGM. Burrow strikes him with the Epicenter. Proccing the BKB out of Chessie. And Loda now isolated and brought down, as it looked like Alliance had everything in their favor. But once again, Tinkerino on the back of some really nice play, able to turn it around. Pycat, 8 seconds on an arrow. We'll see if they even want to chase him out. Hell yeah, they do. Down he goes, and he was almost denied by the Centaur there. Bulba very low, but they all end up making it away. And gorgeous Ravages from Bulldog. I know the last one caught 5. It caught the 4 on the low ground and the 1 on the high ground here. I think the first one caught at least 4, if not 5, but the follow-up just wasn't there.
Well, the problem was, too, is that, like, they turned their focus to Pycat, which is, like, I think the least important hero on their team.
Oh, yeah.
And not to mention, he also had buyback gold, which he did expend. It needed to be a really high-value kill like Sing Sing. I think he actually, I don't know if he just bought that plate mill, might have, but he might have had buyback too. It was just, if that's how good your fight starts for Alliance, but you still lose badly and give up the Roshan, you got to be very, very scared. The way this is making out to be right now, it really looks like Team Tinker is going to push this to 5 games.
It would be kind of shocking after that to see Alliance able to manage this. I mean, it's one thing when you're up against the Tinker, and that's bad enough. It's another when you're up against the Tinker with two heroes who actually just kind of get destroyed by a Tinker with that much DPS. The Razor and the Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight also down to 7 seconds on his BKB, so his magic immunity going to be running quite low. Bulldog has played well, but he can't do it alone, and I feel like they're just lacking damage. Again, that initial volley, whenever you Phantasm and you BKB and you Reality Rift and you get the Chaos Strikes, you get the bonus damage, and so on, you can blow someone up quickly. But after that, you're just kind of meat. Like, if they have anything that can kite you and deal with you, and that's really been the tail of the tape so far here in Game 4.
Yep, and still right beneath Loda here is Koikva just constantly throwing out marches and just being a nuisance. Key doesn't have that much farm. He can kind of keep people alive with a relocate. Oh, they're pinging out Chessie. Arrow hits the creep, but I don't think it's going to really matter. Epicenter coming out onto the BKB target, so not the best usage.
Relocates in. EGM once again dies at the hands of Loda. There's the Phantasm. Ravage is there as well. Caught 2 at the periphery. And trying to chase down Sing Sing now. Lich through his ulti, but he remains safe. Let's see how committed this Alliance is. Fogged on his Reality Rift that time, and actually ended up getting stunned by the rock from the Panda. From the Earth Spirit. Then the Earth Aspect, I should say. And the Phantasm's doing okay damage, but yeah, once again, that initial volley, if you're able to survive it, EGM wasn't. If you're able to survive it, they just can't over-pursue. They can't just take that as a whole lot of initiative. And now Chessie blown to pieces as Koikva catches up. Sing Sing's there, but Koikva coming in, going to work, and Loda can't do anything after the Reality Rift. Arrow shot, not going to hit. Koikva still on him. There's the F-Blade, and Loda trying to armlet toggle, doesn't matter. As Dagon, fresh off cooldown, puts him down 18-13, and I do believe this one has swung totally in favor of the Tinkerinos.
Yeah, and I think as they approach new drafts and new games for Team Tinker, I think Koikva's so good, you need to give him a hero like this every single time.
Right.
Like, not to say that he can't play Bat, because they drafted him Bat twice in a row, and he honestly, like, if anybody kept him in the game, it was him. But I think giving him a more key hero like this and putting him on the mid-roll as a farmer seems to suit them better. I mean, just look at him. And that's not to say that the other players on Team Tinker didn't do their homework and didn't get things done. They certainly did, but they can do whatever they want now. Koikva's just going to take over this game by himself.
Bulldog with an invis. They have to know he's there as he was tethered up to Bulldog, the IO was. But able to make it away to safety. Everyone from Alliance about to be back up. Obviously, you're in a hole right now if you're Alliance. What's the game plan if you're in the captain's chair?
For Alliance, well, step one is get that hard onto Chaos Knight. He needs his illusions to be more tanky. Also, one thing I didn't notice too, as I saw in the last fight, is his illusions are getting drunken hazed by Panda. They don't do anything. It's kind of annoying. But he needs that heart because his illusions need to be able to stay alive for the team to have enough DPS to DPS someone down. So he needs heart. I really feel like Misery needed a BKB this game. I don't think, like, yeah, the mana is nice for Bloodstone, but he just dies. Like, he doesn't do anything in these fights. Maybe gets off one stun, but he sits in the far back like a scaredy cat the whole time. And it's not his fault. It's just the way that the hero works. If he had BKB, I think he could have a little bit more presence in these team fights.
Koikva gets eyes on Bulldog. And now there's a Reality Rift. Loda wants to go on him. There's the Burrow Strike. Very well played. Got 2 of them going high to low. He got the epicenter off, but Koikva in trouble as he was tossed into the air.
He has Aegis. He's fine.
And yeah, they're continuing to sell out on him. Behind that, the fight rages. There's the Aegis. Here comes EGM back in, gets the stun off on the Loda. Sing Sing's right there with Split, and we'll go ahead and use it. Bulba spotted out. Koikva able to avoid his death, at least for the moment. Sing Sing doing what he can for the low ground. There's a Ravage from the low ground. That's going to end up catching Bulba, who got off his ulti. Another Ravage is ready and will catch them all, but not before another death is tallied. Bulldog caught by EGM, who dies to an ensuing anchor smash. And Sing Sing trying to go forward and chase. Bulldog turns, hits him with the gush.
Oh!
Up, and didn't even see that. Pycat trying to shoot arrows. Sing Sing caught. And able to escape that time. Misery doing good damage, and there's a 3-second Chaos Bolt. Bulldog comes in, hits him with the big anchor, and tallies 1,000 gold, ending the wicked 6 streak that he had to that point. And an absolutely chaotic fight that started up here, just to the southwest of the Radiant Ancients, and raged up and down both tiers, all the way back to Tier 3 and Tier 2. In the end, it's 16-21. Tinker loses a lot for that, though, including the Aegis.
Look at Bulldog's gold, man.
Yep.
He literally just ended a godlike streak and a wicked 6 streak and got another kill, not to mention proximity gold and all that jazz. He's up to... he just bought his refresher, and now he has 4,800 gold. My God. So, okay, I guess the saying is you can never count out a team and, you know, count out another team's ability to throw. It's here, man. And Hard is now... That was without the heart on the CK, mind you, who just purchased it now. It just goes to show you, even with the Aegis there on Tinker, he wasn't able to really get his rearm off in time because there were just too many stuns. He couldn't really do it safely. If he's dead, Team Tinker doesn't really honestly have all that much.
Yep.
So they need to really prioritize keeping this Tinker alive, and Koikfa maybe needs to think about building into a BKB now. He needs to be able to have that extra amount of time in these team fights to get that rearm off, otherwise he's just kind of a sitting duck. So Alliance still showing some fighting power here, despite the ridiculous amount of net worth on the Koikfa.
Speaking of ridiculous net worth, Bulldog just one-shot bought a pipe and still has 1,400 gold left over.
Nice.
Oh no, he's spending on something.
Pipe and he bought a Staff of Wizardry too, so maybe a 4-staff. Can never go wrong with 4 staffs.
Well, Jesse could be in trouble. And there's the ping, and they're going to come forward. Koikfa reveals himself. They could have caught Jesse. They just peeked through. Instead, they're just going to slow siege this tower. Down at bottom, we see Loda continuing to farm. He does have up his heart, as you had mentioned. 1,500 gold, the total. Arrow hits Jesse behind the tier 2. But no follow-up, as they don't want to overextend and don't want to allow the door to open even a crack more for Alliance, as they definitely made up a bit of ground in that last engagement. Tier 2, much more methodical in their siege this time. Sing Sing has his ulti at the ready. Pycat with his as well. And now we see Loda and Key making their way back up to try to defend. Still just outside. Nope, just inside, excuse me.
Oh, that's not good.
Of deny range, and looks like they're going to have to go home with a little less gold than they planned on.
I mean, I guess they get the objective down. They get the tower down, but you never want, obviously, a tower to get denied. It's much more of a bigger deal in the early stages of the game, but it's still kind of annoying. So, Loda, I'm curious to see what his next item is, honestly. I think Manta's so good just because he gets so many illusions, but if he's scared that they're going to die, he might not want to, but he does have the heart, so popping that armlet's going to give him about, what, 3,300 gold or so? Or, sorry, 3,300 HP or so. Offensive smoke, here we go.
Loda leading the way, he's got Key in tow, and that's going to be Pycat. Very quick on the trigger, 3-second Chaos Bolt, and they bring him down easily. And Sing Sing could have just as easily been the target, but he was actually back. He had just pulled back when Pycat rushed back forward. 70 seconds now. They got if they want to try to do something. Looks like they might try to pressure this tier 2 top as they all fall back and begin spamming out the creep wave.
Yeah, this game just goes to show you the power of team fight that Tidehunter has. People forget sometimes, but this hero, man, that Ravage never loses its effectiveness, no matter how late it gets. Just a massive AoE stun it's always effective. It's always going to be good, no matter. It doesn't do much damage. But it keeps him in place long enough to get things, you know, get the ball rolling and team fights rolling. So, Loda, like I mentioned, I'm very curious to see what his next item is. There's the Ags up for Racer, so that's going to be very, very good for him. Some negative armor as well for the perhaps the Pandas. And yeah, so Alliance are keeping this game in check. And yeah, I really think that Koikfa needs the PKB. I definitely think that's his item. Also, Misery, I think he bought something. Oh, he bought a Blink. Okay, I guess a Blink is still okay.
Everyone falling back for the moment, like you said, Misery. Grabbing the Blink. Sing Sing. They're lying in wait of him. Bulldog's right there with him. They could set up a relocate. His Blink is on cooldown for 3 seconds. They're still just hanging. Let's see if they want to engage. Yep, there it is. They're going to blow the Ravage. Split Earth on the mark, and here it comes. Can they get him down in time? It's going to be close. They do. Able to clean him up. And Sing
honestly,
Sing.
You know, honestly, they should have just let him split.
Yep.
And just make him waste it. But it doesn't matter because I think it's going to be up pretty much by the time he revives anyway. You don't want to take chances. But yeah, that was a 4-second Chaos Bolt by CK. So every bit counts and it helps. And that's what I'm talking about. If you have to relocate kind of before a Ravage happens. And that's basically how they executed it. And it was very effective. And I can't believe Alliance are still staying in this. And in fact, I really feel like this is in their favor, despite being down actually 10,000 experience.
Oh, there's that level 4 ultimate we were talking about. He got 4 illusions out of that one.
Nice.
And they're going to try to slow siege with it. They're doing good damage, though. And they can't really do a whole lot about it. In the meantime, though, Chessie got caught. Chaos Knight gets the tower kill. He's going to be tossed into the air now, using that Yules as EGM, but no pursuit. Recognizing they would have been engaging very close to a hillside. 18 to 21. And Quakeva comes just as one leaves, just as Misery departed as well. And you hate to say it, you almost want to whisper it, but it feels like Tinker is losing momentum. Like, you know, not just kind of they've lost an engagement or two, not just they've been ganked, but they were feeling like they were in complete control of the pace of the game. And with Loda now hitting this point of critical mass, has the heart, has the armlet, he's going to have 4 gold worth of an item sometime soon. This is beginning to get a little bit scary.
Yeah, you can, I agree. But the thing is, you can never count out an Ethblade Tinker, who, by the way, is, oh, he's just being a nuisance to Loda down here. But he did go for the BKB, and I think that was really smart of him. He desperately needs that, because if he needs to blow his load in these team fights, and then be able to safely rearm in the face of double Ravage. Like, he has to be able to do that, and he now has that the capability to do that with the BKB. So they do have Roshan on their side, speaking of, as they do it. I can't remember if this is number 2 or 3 or 4. I don't know. I lose track.
Yeah, me too. We'll see. We'll find out if he's holding some dairy product or if he's not in the mood for cheese for this evening. But he will be dropping uncontested. Alliance has to be aware of it. Has to suspect it at the very least. And, yep, it's just an Aegis.
Oh, no, Quakeva!
Yep, up
He
at
just
top.
get the BKB off. He should be okay.
Trying to catch him out, but unable to do so. So he makes it away safely. And Tinker now with a bit of an advantage back in their favor. Let's see if they want to continue to chase this down mid. Only 1 outer tier tower remaining for both teams. Coincidentally, it is the offlane tower for both teams. And how do you like, if they end up having to clash right now, how do you like Tinker's chances to crack high ground?
Oh god, I don't even know after the last fight. It's hard to predict, honestly. They need a really good Sand King ult. I feel like all of these Sand King ults have been kind of like on BKB targets. I feel like you either initiate right off the get-go with the ult, or you wait very, very late. And all you do as Sand King is just blink in, stun 1, blink in, double stun, walk away, blink in, and just keep doing that until the BKBs are gone, and then you go in with the final ult. I think that's the best approach to playing Sand King in these fights where lots of heroes are tanky. So as far as, you know, entering the high ground, though, again, Team Tinker, let's look at their items. The real only team fight items are basically the mech and then the Vlads. They have no pipe, which I think they really, really need. But they can grind out these Roshans, get the Aegis, try to out-farm with Tinker, get some pickoffs, and then approach the high ground. So I would say, long answer, is get pickoffs with the Ethblade Tinker. Do that, maybe bait out a buyback, back up, wait for Roshan, things like that.
Speaking of baiting, they tried very, very hard to bait Sing Sing there. Bulldog and Misery pulled back very quickly, though, as there was a 4-man smoke. Sing Sing was just kind of off by himself farming. But they didn't take the bait. Down at bottom, Loda and Key hanging right here, ready to farm these creeps out and try to push the tower. Quakeva doing what he can to delay this process. Sitting at level 23, and the tier 2 top drops for Alliance. They're down to nothing but tier 3s now, and they rotate in Sing Sing just to provide some help. And Loda eats a whole lot of damage all at once. Now they're going to come back in, and Key's going to have to hook up with him. And yeah, has to send him home. Can't take the chance. They may go back as a tandem. And Sing Sing playing kind of brave.
Yeah, I think Wisp should not bring CK. Wisp should definitely, yeah, this should just be Wisp, okay. Poor Wisp.
GG Wisp. Quakeva made it back in time. But anyway, 18 to 22. Tinker, while they continue to output damage, still trying to fight for the right opportunity, like you said, so predicated on getting a pick and then pushing off of it.
Yep, exactly. Now, Wisp isn't exactly the ideal pick-off, as he respawns, she respawns, it respawns, whatever it is. Very relatively quickly, but any bit counts. I also didn't even notice, but Tinker did buy a Bloodstone before that BKB, I believe. And I don't remember if it was even before or after, but does have the Bloodstone available. Top lane Tinker, TP's in, BKBs, and TP's out, so dwindling down.
Oh,
Wait, he turned it.
Yep, he faked it. Saw
Nice.
him hanging around a little too long and blew him up down at bottom. We can see the push is on as Lesh and Io are both down right now. Sing Sing and company ready to siege this tier 3. Like we said, getting those picks so important. And yeah, faked him out completely, man. You could tell he did not expect that. There wasn't even a reaction to run. He was blown up so fast. Loaded there with the IO. Chessie's right there with him. Chessie has not had nearly the impact he would have liked to have had this game, no doubt about it. Sitting at 1, 5, and 10. So very tough game for that Razor.
Yep, and I want to say he bought something else. Oh, he's got a Yasha now, so my guess is a Manta just to make things a little bit easier for him to get out of the Eth Blade if he needs to. And, actually, I don't know if that purges it. His unstable current. I could be wrong about that. But Arrow hits Misery. This could possibly be a blown up Misery, and it is.
And it will be. Sing Sing's there, gets a split off, and Bulldog trying to do what he can. Uses the Ravage. And Loda now chasing them down. Sing Sing's aspects blown to pieces immediately, but behind that we can see Chessie being pursued out. Misery's back up off a buyback. There's going to be that epicenter. Waited a long time on it and got almost full duration on 3. Sing Sing continuing to chase, but gets off the Drunken Haze. Onto Loda, and Quakefa coming in to clean house. That's an ultra kill. Could be. Let's see. Pycat, you gonna steal it? You gonna steal it? And it's going to be stolen. GG, Pycat. Probably a GG from Alliance, too, as this seems to be the break moment for a lineup that had been playing bend but don't break for a while now.
What an asshole that Pycat is. If you saw, the whole team was like actually trying to let him get it.
Yep.
Like they were trying to. Oh, the stun coming out. Arrow hit the hit as well. Yeah, this
that
has
counts. That's a rampage. There you go. I'll do it.
There you go. GG. Well played. We're going to a game 5. On the back of Koikfa's amazing Tinker, he just disconnects. He's like, God damn it, 5 games. I them because they've played a lot of Dota today, even before this series of best of 5, which is going the full distance. They've played, I believe, a best of 3 in the D2CL as well. So they've played a lot of Dota today, but they've earned this game 5, and it's been a great series thus far.
Well, hopefully they'll finish this. They called GG. Did they cancel it? Yep.
They did, yeah.
There we are. I was waiting to drop the overlay. As game 4 ends the same way as game 3. Both of these teams taking 2 in a row at 2 different points. Knotted up and going to a game 5 here in our leadoff best of 5 for the Game24 Invitational, powered and brought to you by NVIDIA. Taking a look at the in-game stats, we could see another banner day for Quakefa, 17, 2, and 6 on that Tinker. Bulldog, even though the stat box doesn't really reflect it that much, 3, 3, and 7 for him, and really feel like he played well for the most part. Loda does finish in the positives, 8, 6, and 8, but really the impact from that CK just wasn't there, I don't think.
I do think he played very well, though. I just think it was, they had limitations in their draft as they approached the late game, and they did the best they could. I mentioned what EGM needed to do as far as his, objectives in team fights, and he did exactly that. He blinked in, stunned 1 or 2, did the same thing, walked away, waited for a better time, blinked in, stunned, waited till their BKBs wore off, and as you mentioned, came in with a very effective ulti. So EGM definitely played better in the later stages of the game than the earlier stages.
Well, guys, we're just about done with one best of 5. Find out which team is going to be advancing into the next round and which team's going to be going home in 3rd/4th place. I'm your host, AC. On the mic with me, as always, is Trouf. Thanks again for tuning in, and thanks again for supporting the tournament. But don't forget to check out all the other excellent content going on Stream 24, a 24-hour celebration of PC gaming all across the planet. We're going to have the conclusion of this best of 5 coming up, another best of 5 not long after that, and then our best of 5 grand finals, $15,000 in the prize pool. Looking forward to seeing who can fight their way there. Anyway, we'll be right back again. Game 5, Alliance and Tinkerino, all knotted up. See you in a minute.